My folks use drugs and alcohol, so my thought process after they got divorced was not appropriate at the time. So I didn't really get parented the correct way, and I sought it out in other people, places, and things. And it wasn't until the last 2 years of my addiction that I had no control. And by the time I realized it, I was in a hotel, afraid to turn on lights, afraid to say if I was happy or sad, and I became pregnant, and I didn't even know who the father was. My child was in the hospital for 45 days going through withdrawals.
Before I had my son, I was very bad on drugs. I was going to the clubs or say I'll be back and won't come back 2 or 3 days later. I was kind of lost. I didn't have anything. I didn't have nothing to show for. And then I got pregnant with my son. I tested positive for cocaine, and then CPS found out, and they came and took my son right at birth.
In homes and courtrooms across America, Houston and Harris County, women, families, infants, and toddlers are being affected by a cycle of disease and destruction. A cycle that leaves families torn and children caught in the crossfire. It is the mission of the Infant Toddler Court and the Family Intervention Court to protect abused and neglected children in Harris County through a judicial process involving treatment, recovery, and reunification of families where possible. Although ITC works with complex issues, its goals are simple: keep infants and toddlers safe, heal trauma, build and support appropriate caregiving relationships, preserve and support families where possible, and divert children from further involvement in child welfare and criminal justice systems.
Over the past almost 18 years, I've been the judge of the 247th District Court in Harris County, and we have had a huge increase in the number of cases that have appeared before this court. 75% of the divorces that come through this court, or the suits affecting parent-child relationship for folks that aren't married, involve allegations, if not proven, of alcohol and drug abuse. We are now becoming very well aware of the brain damage and the other kinds of problems that are caused by things such as the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. And because of the damage done to these children, it affects them lifelong, not only because their parents are not emotionally there for them, but because they also have forms of brain damage that have some narrow window of opportunity for us to do some rehabilitative work.
The Infants and Toddlers Court team consists of the judge, prosecutors representing the county, the defense attorney for the parent, attorney ad litem, guardian ad litem for the child, community outreach coordinator, administrative assistant or case manager, child protective services staff, and treatment or service representative. By exploring early childhood evaluation and early childhood intervention, research shows that development of the parent-child bond is most apparent during the ages of birth to 3. An assessment of the parent-child relationship by a trained clinical staff will identify social and emotional problems with regards to the well-being of the child. A visit coach will work with the parent to build on strengths and help better understand weaknesses.
Treatment is the only thing that saved me and my son's life. There would have been no way I could have taken care of him without those counselors, without the parenting classes. And then the weekly show-ups to court, and all of the things that court gave me was discipline, being honest with myself, determination. You know, somehow they knew that I could do it, even though I felt like I could never do it.
Since I've been in infant toddler court, I've been going through a lot of things. I mean, they done helped me how to learn how to be a better person. They put me in parenting classes, take GED, go to meetings, and teach me how to be a better person. It's a lot of good things to go through in court. They push me a lot, and Everything's been going good so far. I mean, I've been clean sober 15 months. I got my kids back, and soon my daughter will be back soon with me. I mean, I actually did good coming out in court.
Early intervention matters. One of the important things that we focus on is providing children with the appropriate and early interventions so that we can ameliorate some of the negative impact that they've had due to trauma, due to parental substance abuse, and other risk factors that they're exposed to early on in life. That is actually a unique thing of the infant-toddler court, focusing on the relationship. We've learned from research that relationships are really the core to development for young children, actually for all children, but especially in the early years. Many of these parents have never been parented themselves. They too have many risk factors. They often don't know what is developmentally appropriate for a 6-month-old or for a 1-year-old, what food their children should be eating at that age. So we really work with them in terms of enhancing their ability to take care of their child.
The children are most impacted by the parent substance abuse, and that's why it's so important that the parent are willing to learn and participate in the recovery process in order to live long, productive, sober lives.
You may ask, why is the Mental Health and Mental Retardation Authority of Harris County involved in the Infant-Toddler Court Initiative? First and foremost, as the Mental Health Authority for Harris County designated by the Department of State Health Services and functioning under the umbrella of the Harris County Commissioners Court, we are concerned about the mental health issues, or if you will, the mental health or mental well-being of the residents of Harris County. We potentially reduce those opportunities for multiple foster placements, reduce the likelihood that the child may develop attachment disorders, school issues or problems, acting out behaviors, depression, that can lead them from Children's Protective Services into juvenile justice, into adult criminal behavior. And the processes and procedures deployed by the Infant-Toddler Court and Family Intervention Court offer us great opportunity.
I love myself today, and I hope that I have a car someday and I can pay my own apartment, and that I can do all the things that a responsible adult does, because let me tell you, responsibility means something, and I always used to shrug it off. And for an addict like me, who's completely codependent on people, to get just a piece of bread or some milk or a place to sleep or love or any of those things, to have my own things and be responsible for my own life today is very, very comforting. And there's no words to tell you how I can be just grateful for that. There's nothing. And so just thank you.
My relationship with my son and my daughter is awesome. I know how to be a good mother now. My daughter understands me. She don't disrespect me. My son, it's a blessing. He's a little miracle child. I actually take her out to places instead of telling her I'm not gonna do it. And no, instead of telling her, okay, we're gonna do it 5 minutes later, or we're not going anywhere. Now she expects that. I got little people looking up to me that I can't fail. And thanks to this Infant-Toddler Court, it made me the good person that I am now.
So this has been a plus for all of us. The whole court team process with Judge Helms, Judge Pope out in Fort Bend County has been really therapeutic in a sense that you have a lot of individuals sincerely care about this individual, and they want to make sure that they succeed, get off the drugs or whatever their issues are, and get their children back, hopefully. So you got this court team that really provides the support, whether it's through therapy, mentoring, counseling services, different parenting classes, help them with housing, help them with their drug addiction, all those issues that come into play. You got the court team behind them saying, if you want to make that first step, we're behind you to make the second, third, and fourth step. The infants and toddlers deserve to be with family whenever possible. And if these families get their act together and they really succeed and show that they can be good parents and dedicated to their children, we really want this to happen. And luckily, through the infant toddler court, this has taken place.
Finally, all of the hard work is paid off. Graduation ceremonies allow the court to recognize the achievement of the parents and their families. Graduates celebrate the start of their new journey forward in recovery and faith. These parents have regained their self-respect and dignity, have committed to a long-term process of healing and recovery, and are given a new chance at a meaningful, productive, and happy life. Often, there is no one prouder of the parents in the room than their children, who know that their caregivers are now getting better, and that they'll be able to have what every child needs, a loving, caring family. Shedding light on this chronic disease in our society is the purpose and mission of the Infant Toddler Court. Improving outcomes for abused and neglected infants may be our only hope in silencing the cradle-to-prison pipeline. Prevention through intervention, making a difference, breaking the cycle.